Thank you and good afternoon, all of you. First of all, let me tell you what an honor it is to come and stand in front of a group like yours. I have just been told by Mr. Adia as to how you all have been selected, and the aspirations that you all have regarding your wishes to be able to contribute to nation building by becoming leaders of note. That's something that I can really relate to. And it takes me back to my time when I was passing out of college, and I've had the same kind of aspirations, and I didn't know where to go in order to get the right kind of guidance so that, I could become something like what you all want to be. Of course, it was maybe luck, destiny, whatever it is that I am where I am. But had there been something like Seoul University at that point of time, I'm sure, my path would have been that much easier. But having said that, what I think I will do, I have 30 minutes. I will try and limit my remarks to about, say, 15 minutes, because I'd very much like to take questions from y'all and address those in order to be more relevant to what y'all really want to hear about, okay? And in the meanwhile, for my journey through State Bank of India and now with Salesforce, maybe there are 2 or 3 lessons that I will just talk about that I learned while going through all of this in order to ensure that, you understand what leadership is all about, what I felt or what I learned as I went through all of these stages. So the first story, for instance, when I was a young officer in State Bank of India, in those days, by the way, everything was manual. There were no computer systems. All the accounts were written by hand in ledgers that were really, really thick and very difficult for me to actually even lift, because though it doesn't appear from my appearance today, I was actually very thin and, far, far less weight. So I was just 39 kgs when I joined the State Bank of India, days far gone by. But anyway, those were the days of those manual ledgers, and I remember one of the times when one of the ledger keepers came to tell me that he was going to go on leave. So I said, yeah, I know, I have sanctioned your leave. So he said, I want to know who's going to be my alternate ledger keeper, who's going to look at my ledger while I'm away. So I said, you don't have to worry about that. I will obviously put somebody there. Why you worried about it? So he said, no, I'm very worried about it. I want to know. You have to tell me today. So I thought, he was overstepping his limits. I said, please don't worry, that's my job. So he said, no, please come and have a look at my ledger and and you'll understand why. So I went and had a look at his ledger, and believe me, the ledger was like a picture. His handwriting was typical copper plate. हम लोग जो लिखते हैं ना, इतना सुंदर, the handwriting was so good. देखने से, you yourself feel it's a work of art. Okay, and he said, a ledger like this, do you really want to put somebody who's going to make cuttings and who's going to have a very bad handwriting? Pura mera jo itna din ka jo, hard work hai, kharab ho jayega. And I realized that even though he is just a ledger keeper, he is trying to ensure that whatever he does with excellence. It doesn't matter what job you are in. If you are doing that job with excellence, if you are really bringing your whole self to work, you're making a difference. Similarly, there was another incident that I very often talk about. मैं जब foreign department में थी, उस समय risk was something that was just getting, ingrained in the bank. So उसके पहले risk के बारे में अगर कोई भी कुछ बोले, तो it was a kind of a static activity. Boxes tick कर देते थे और समझ में आ जाता था कि risk क्या है. लेकिन ये जब जिस साल के बात में कर रही हूँ, 2001-2 के आसपास में होगा, उस समय risk had begun to become very important. Okay, तो हम लोग को बोला गया था कि रिस्क को आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना है, मॉनिटर करना है, मिटिगेट करना है, लेकिन कैसे ये सब करें ये हम लोग को पता नहीं था. So I used to go up, our office was on the 15th floor of this building in Calcutta, एंड आई फाउंड कि जब भी मैं अकेली लिफ्ट में हूँ, लिफ्ट मैन जो है वो 15 और 16 दोनों बटन दबाता है। तो मुझे पता नहीं था कि ये दोनों क्यों दबाता है, मैं तो अकेली हूँ लिफ्ट में। तो एक दिन मैं पूछी उसको कि आप दोनों क्यों दबा रहे हैं? तो बोले कि नहीं मैडम, ये लिफ्ट का थोड़ा कुछ डिफेक्ट आ गया है, बीच बीच में ये 15 फ्लोर स्किप कर जाता है, और हम देखते हैं कि आप बहुत दौड़ दौड़ के काम करती हैं, तो अगर ये 15 स्किप कर गया तो पूरा 19 तक चला जाएगा, आपका बहुत टाइम वेस्ट होगा, उसीलिए मैं 16 दबाता हूँ ताकि 16 में आप उतर के एक सीढ़ी आप नीचे आ सके। एंड आई थॉट, look at this guy, you know, he's just a lift man, and yet he is bringing excellence to his work. He knows what I do, he knows that I don't have time to waste, and in his own little way he was actually monitoring the risk, trying to mitigate it, and finding a way in which he can mitigate it. Basically a lesson in risk management just from a lift man. But the fact of the matter is, this is what is excellence in work. It doesn't matter what you are doing. If you bring in that little excellence, imagine that fellow is still there in my mind. I still remember him. I still remember his name. Okay? If you make that little bit of difference in the way you do your work, you begin to get noticed, and you then begin to make progress in whatever you're doing. That little additional, you should never think of yourself कि मैं एक मशीनरी में I am just a cog, सारे मशीन में मैं एक पार्ट हूँ, ऐसा करके कभी मत सोचिए. You must consider yourself to be an artist in whatever you're doing. सेम चीज उसकी रिप्रेजेंटेशन आर्टिस्ट डिफरेंट डिफरेंट तरीके से करते हैं. अगर आप वो रिप्रेजेंटेशन अपने तरह से कर पाएं और उसको सही ढंग से और उत्तम रूप से कर पाएं, तो उसमें जो लीडरशिप दिखती है वो दूसरी जगह पे दिखती नहीं है. एंड इफ यू आर लुकिंग एट प्रोग्रेसिंग इन लाइफ, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर यू टू मेक दैट डिफरेंस. द सेकेंड थिंग इज, फॉर इंस्टेंस, यू नो, never think that you are a finished product. Every one of us is work in progress. अगर आप कभी बैलेंस शीट देखे हो तो आपको तो मालूम होगा कि रॉ मटेरियल रहता है, फिर वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस रहता है, फिर फिनिश्ड गुड्स रहता है. बहुत लोगों को लगता है कि बीच बीच में 40-45 साल जब उम्र हो जाता है कि मुझे जो सीखना था मैं सब सीख चुकी हूँ. That's never the case. You are always a work in progress. And for instance, when I joined Salesforce, a lot of people asked me, you have been the chairman of the largest bank of the country. Okay. It is among the Fortune 500 banks. You have represented the bank in so many forums, including Davos, including the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, सब जगह जाके represent किए हैं. वहाँ से जाके सडनली आप ये सेल्सफोर्स ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं. 25 साल का कंपनी है. यहाँ पे इंडिया में उन लोग को 2200 लोग सेल्सफोर्स में काम करते थे. मैं जब स्टेट बैंक में थी 2,70,000 लोगों काम करते थे इन दैट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. फ्रॉम देयर आई एम सडनली गोइंग इनटू अ स्मॉल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ 2,200 पीपल. A lot of my friends told me, don't you think you are demeaning yourself? So I told them that, look, you know, what do you mean demeaning myself? First and foremost, the chair is not me. SBI का चेयरपर्सन का जो इमेज है वो अलग है. वो SBI का चेयर का इमेज है. मैं तो और चेयरपर्सन अभी हूँ नहीं. मैं तो साधारण नागरिक हूँ. आई एम जस्ट एन ऑर्डिनरी सिटीजन. सेकेंड थिंग इज, ये जो एरिया है ये नया एरिया है मेरे लिए. IT इंडस्ट्री एकदम नया इंडस्ट्री है. मुझे फिनेंस का जानकारी है. 40 साल 1 महीना मैं काम की हूँ फिनेंस में. हाँ, कह सकते हैं कि फिनेंस के लिए अगर मैं जाके छोटी एक बैंक में ज्वाइन कर ली तो वो अलग होता, लेकिन वैसा नहीं है. ये नया चीज़ है. और नया चीज़ सीखने के लिए नीचे से अगर शुरू करना पड़े, उसमें बुराई क्या है, खराबी क्या है? हमारी ईगो तो इतना बड़ा नहीं होना चाहिए कि मुझे लगे कि मैं वहाँ पे चेयरपर्सन थी तो यहाँ भी एकदम नंबर 1 होना चाहिए. होने के लिए अगर उन लोग बोले भी मैं हो नहीं पाऊंगी क्योंकि मुझे पता ही नहीं है ये इंडस्ट्री क्या है, तो नीचे से फिर से सीखना पड़ेगा. I joined at what is called the L5 level. That means I had 4 levels above me when I joined. Today I have gone up to the L3 level. Okay, there are still 2 levels above me. I don't want to go to those levels क्योंकि मुझे इंडिया छोड़ना नहीं है. मैं यहीं पे रहना चाहती हूँ, फिर उधर जाके कुछ करना भी नहीं है. लेकिन ये चीज तो सही है कि you have to remember always कि सीखने के लिए बहुत कुछ है, और सीखने के लिए आपका ईगो आगे मत डालिए. You can learn from anybody and everybody. It doesn't matter whether you are learning from a clerk or from somebody very superior, from a mentor, from a sponsor, or you are learning from the youngest guy in the organization. हमारी जो secretary है, जब मैं पहले join की थी, पूरा हमको सिखाती थी कि सिस्टम कैसे चलाते हैं, क्योंकि उनका जो सिस्टम था एकदम अलग है, मेरा सिस्टम दूसरा है. खाली वही नहीं, पहले मैं जब ज्वाइन की, कोविड का लॉकडाउन के एक हफ्ता के बाद, दैट मीन्स 1 अप्रैल 2020 में ज्वाइन की. अब एज चेयरमैन ऑफ एसबीआई मेरा एक 14 लोगों का एक एवी टीम रहता था. उन लोग सारा हमारा जो ऑडियो विजुअल सब कुछ होता था, प्रोडक्शन सब कुछ देखते थे, ताकि मुझे अगर वेबकास्ट करना पड़े, टीवी इंटरव्यू देना पड़े, सब कुछ फिट करके हमको बुलाते थे. मैं आके खाली चेयर पे बैठती थी और बोलती थी. ठीक है. अब यहाँ पे क्योंकि लॉकडाउन हो चुका था, उन लोग बोले हम लोग तो आपका सिस्टम जाके फिक्स नहीं कर पाएंगे, आपको हम लोग हार्डवेयर भेज दे रहे हैं, आप इसको इंस्टॉल करिए. मैं पहले कभी भी कोई भी कंप्यूटर कभी इंस्टॉल नहीं की हूँ, लेकिन starting from opening the box to putting up the laptop, to putting in a VPN, to ensuring that the monitor works, to ensuring that all the software is downloaded and I am able to handle all of that, सब कुछ मैं अकेली की. Okay, of course, बहुत सारे mistakes की, बहुत बार उन लोग को बोलना पड़ा. So they almost scolded me about the kind of mistakes I was making. But the fact of the matter, after I had finished doing it, I felt really good. बहुत मजा आया कि मैं सब कुछ कर सकती हूँ. इसमें भी कुछ satisfaction है. तो मैं वही कहना चाहती हूँ कि अपने आप को कभी भी ना सोचना कि मैं फिनिश प्रोडक्ट हूँ. कोई भी फिनिश प्रोडक्ट नहीं होता है इस दुनिया में. जब तक हम लोग जीवित हैं, तब तक there is need and there is a ability for us to change and for us to become better and better. And as you do that, you will find as leaders, you will develop many more faculties that will enable you to understand how to lead other people. People will start looking up to you because you are forever skilling yourself, because you are doing things differently. For that matter, हमारे Salesforce में और एक चीज है, वो हम लोग कहते हैं that's a learning platform called Trailhead. ये Trailhead जो प्लेटफॉर्म है, ये फ्री रहता है right up to a particular level, और माना जाता है कि हमारे यहाँ पे they give you ranks as you do various courses. Various courses हैं, तो पहले आपका एक्सपीडिशनर होते हैं, फिर आप माउंटेनियर होते हैं, ऐसे करके there are ranks. When you have acquired 50,000 points, okay, and 100 badges, you become what is called a ranger. Now, by the time you are a ranger, it is expected that you are able to manage in an IT company. So everybody is expected to be a ranger. But in India, as we started taking on a lot of people, I found a lot of people were not doing these courses. Take care. Even the people who were right next to me, and they were, by the way, hardcore IT guys, I found none of them were completing their courses in order to become a ranger. So over 2 weekends, I decided कि ऐसे करके तो होगा नहीं, इन लोग को बोलने से इन लोग तो कर नहीं रहे हैं, तो अपने ही करके दिखाते हैं. तो मेरे लिए ये करना बड़ा मुश्किल था, because I am not from IT, right? But over a period of 2 long weekends, I managed to finish 50,000 points and 100 tokens, 100 badges, and became a ranger. Okay. And the fact of the matter is, the moment I became a ranger, there is a group, so it all goes around in the group who's become a ranger and all. You won't believe, within the next 1 month, all my leaders had become rangers. Okay. You simply have to embarrass them into doing things. If they won't do it on their own, you have to embarrass them into doing things. But the fact is, again, as I said, as you develop yourself, you will give the necessary impetus for your team also to develop. That's the second thing, okay? So always try and do your best. Second, always keep learning. There is no end to learning in this world. And third, in order to be a leader, you have to change your leadership styles. At times when things are going well, it is important for you to set a goal, to set a vision. And once you have sold that goal and that vision, allow your team the ability to come and give them the space to be able to perform. Agar Adhya ji was actually, he used to lead the banking sector. He was part of our board. And I know for a fact during his time, the amount of space he gave us in order to be able to do things so that, we could really give shape to the vision of making a digital bank. SBI at that point of time was very, very backward digitally. Okay, today it is the foremost digitalized banks. And we got there because there were secretaries like him who allowed us the space to be able to get to do these things. As a leader, you have to remember, it doesn't have to be micromanagement. There is not one brain in the room and a pair of hands. There are a number of brains in the room. All of your team, will be able to perform. They all have brains. They all have hands. Give them the space to work. Don't micromanage. However, if there is a crisis, at that point of time, the leadership style needs to change. At that point of time, you need to lead from the front. If you're not leading from the front at that point of time, the team will be clueless as to how to get things done. And that is where you need to step out in the front and give directions, ki ye kijiye, wo kijiye, and you will see that the work gets done. So leadership styles, again, as you develop them, you must realize leadership styles are changeable. They are not the same, they are not fixed, they are absolutely dependent upon the kind of situation you are in. So you need to become a situational leader. You need to differ your style from place to place and from situation to situation in order to be effective with your team and effective in getting to the goal that you have set for yourself. So I think, these are 2 or 3 things that I sort of remembered off the top of my head, and I thought I would share with you. The last thing I will share with you before I ask for a few queries is that, when we started in the organizations, there were not too many women. Most of the time, we were the only ones, the only women in the rooms. And in fact, I even remember when I joined the bank, because again, as I told you, I was very thin and I didn't have the gravitas, so to speak. So the gentleman who was doing our orientation course, he was a senior officer in the bank, and he told me in a very fatherly fashion, he told me, I'm not telling this to you, don't take it otherwise, but it would be nice if you would start wearing saris, because it will give you at least a little more gravitas, because you will actually be handling people who are your parents' age. Okay, and you don't look as though, they can follow you unless you can bring that gravitas into your personality. So I really, at that point of time, I won't say that I was very happy with the advice. But then as I went into the branches, I realized how true that advice was. Because it is important at some point of time to not only be the part, but act the part. You have to fake it till you make it kind of thing. Till such time as I could gain that gravitas, I also had to fake that gravitas. So that was there. But the one thing that I found is that it was difficult for women to stay on. And there was a time, especially, in the middle of my career, when I had just become a GM and I was positioned in Lucknow, when I felt that I probably should give up. My daughter, by the way, is specially abled, and she needed integrated schools. And I didn't think I could find one in a small place like Lucknow. And I talked to the bank management. I appealed to them कि मुझे बड़ा शहर में कहीं पे भेजिए जहाँ पे इस तरीके के स्कूल हमें मिल जाए. तो उनका कहना था कि आप बड़े शहर में बहुत दिन रह चुके हैं. इंडिया खाली बड़े शहर का बनता नहीं है. इंडिया सारे टाइप्स के जगह के बना हुआ है कंट्री। और अगर आपको और ऊपर जाना है तो इट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर यू, आपको जाके थोड़ा विलेज भी देखना पड़ेगा, टियर 2 टियर 3 सिटीज़ भी देखना पड़ेगा। तो इसलिए हम लोग को लगता है कि आपको जाना उचित है। So I talked to one of my seniors who had been CGM in Bengal when I was AGM, and then he also had retired as chairman of the bank. तो उनको हम फ़ोन किए और उनको बताए कि सर क्या करूं, मैं छोड़ दूं क्या, क्योंकि बच्ची का तो ख्याल तो रखना है, उसको भी पढ़ाना ठीक ठाक से, उसका भी परवरिश करना बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो हमें कहे कि देखो छोड़ना तो बहुत आसान है, आपके लिए 3 लाइन का चिट्ठी होगा, आजकल तो ईमेल पे भी हो जाता है, छोड़ने के लिए आपको 30 सेकंड टाइम लगेगा। तो आप छोड़िए मत, आप एक बार लखनऊ जाके देखिए ना, अगर वैसा कोई स्कूल आपको मिल जाए, मालूम तो नहीं है, आप जाके देखिए। तो मैं आई टोल्ड हिम कि लेकिन सर पूरा फैमिली वैमिली लेके जाएंगे, फिर अगर नहीं मिला तो फिर वापस लाना पड़ेगा। तो वो कहे कि पूरा फैमिली ले जाने के लिए ज़रूरी क्या है, आप बच्चे को छोड़ के 1 महीना के लिए जाइए, 1 महीना का आप रिस्क लीजिए, जाके देखिए, अगर वहाँ पे स्कूल मिल गया तो बहुत बढ़िया, आप रह जाइएगा बैंक में। क्योंकि इतना साल आप बैंक में काम किए हैं, उस समय 20 साल से ज़्यादा मैं काम की थी, और अभी उसका रिटर्न आपको मिलने वाला है, इस जंक्चर पे आप छोड़ दीजिएगा, दैट विल बी वेरी सैड, डोंट डू इट। So I took his advice, I went there. Luckily, I found a school exactly like the one I wanted. The lady who runs the school, by the way, is a very well-known educationist. So she welcomed, you know, the fact that I would bring my child to her school. And I went into Lucknow, and the rest is history. I didn't obviously leave the bank, and I went on to become chairman. So my request to all the people here is that there will be times in your lives when things will not go as per your requirements. आप जिस तरीके से चलना चाहते हैं उस तरीके से होगा नहीं, लेकिन वैसे समय पे धीरज रखना बहुत बहुत ज़रूरी है। ओके, सबूरी जो कहते हैं ना, उसकी बहुत ज़रूरी है, थोड़ा पेशेंट होने का ज़रूरी है, एंड यू नीड टू हैंग इन देयर। बिलीव मी, यू नो, जब आप अंधेरे में शाम को कभी अगर हाईवे में अगर ड्राइव कर रहे हो, तो जैसे आपका जो हेडलाइट्स है, हेडलाइट्स तक ही रास्ता दिखता है, उसके बाद पूरा अंधेरा दिखता है, लगता है कि उसके बाद पूरा ड्रॉप कर जाएगा, लेकिन ड्रॉप तो होता नहीं है। जैसे गाड़ी आगे चलती रहती है, रास्ता भी दिखने लगता है ना। तो हमारी जो लाइफ है वो भी वैसी ही है, सब समय हमको सारा चीज दिखाई नहीं देता है, लेकिन अगर थोड़ा धीरज रख के, विथ अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ करेज, थोड़ा साहस करके अगर हम लोग आगे चलते रहे, तो रास्ता अपने आप दिखने लगता है। तो ये जो कभी भी अगर आपका क्राइसिस में आ जाए और आपको लगे कि बहुत हो गया, अभी हम लोग को छोड़ना चाहिए, थोड़ा धीरज रखिए, क्योंकि थोड़ा धीरज रखने से होता है कि सडनली समथिंग और द अदर हैज अपसेट यू एंड यू टेक अ डिसीजन, दैट डिसीजन बहुत भारी पड़ सकता है। उसको वैसा करके डिसाइड न करके, just be a little patient, hang in there. You don't know, things will turn around. You know, there are tough times, there are good times, and nobody is going to tell you that you'll all have good times. There will be many tough times in all of our careers. Importance is not to give up. Importance is to keep a positive attitude and to just hang in there. Hang in there, and I'm telling you, believe me, the road opens up. आपके सामने अपनी जो रास्ता है वो खुल जाएगी, रास्ता दिखने लगेगी, and you will be able to get to your goal. So my request to all of you is, don't take hasty decisions, okay? Just hang in there. So that's about all I think I wanted to tell you. And I was thinking if anybody has any questions, we have, I think, 10 minutes? Okay, that's nice. Yeah, yeah.
Hello ma'am, my name is Hanisha Vyas and I'm from Gujarat. My question is to you that with your remarkable journey from leading the State Bank of India to now driving digital transformation to Salesforce South Asia, you have navigated two vastly different industries, banking and technology. Given this experience, what do you see the biggest challenge and the opportunity in accelerating digital adoption amongst the traditional business in India?
देखिए ऐसा है कि you are right that these are two different areas, but in my view आज के दिन में if you don't have the right kind of technology, if you don't have what I call a technological backbone, no organization can survive. It's just, it's the reality of the matter. You know, there are three things that Thomas Friedman, you might be knowing about him, he's a Pulitzer Prize winning author and a New York Times columnist. He had said there are three things that are going to impact us all three with M. The first one is markets, which is globalization, okay? लेन देन का कारोबार जो है, that is the first thing. The second thing he said was mother nature, which is basically climate change impacting everybody. And third one he said was Moore's law. And Moore's law talks about the impact of technology into business. And I perfectly believe it, because today the way technology is evolving, if you are not part of that entire evolution, it'll be like a wave that will simply submerge you. So after having seen the role that technology plays in the banking sector, that was one of the things that really enthused me when I got this offer, because I thought what better than to have a ringside seat into cutting edge technology and seeing where it is going. So if you ask me, it's been a great journey actually, because I have seen two very, very important aspects. As I told you, markets and Moore's law, I have done both of them, excepting for sustainability. Maybe my third career should be in sustainability. But definitely, I think this is something that all of you need to be aware of. The fact that technology has become part of our lives now, and it is going to be more and more so. So it's important for you all to understand it. It's not necessary for you to learn coding anymore. Today, everything can be done in natural language. But the concepts of what is happening and why it is happening and how it can be best used in whatever you are doing, I think that if you can internalize it will be of very big use to you all.
Well, thank you so much for such an insightful session, ma'am. I'm Yatin. So my question is specifically about information. Because leaders, it's very important to have the right information. Today, with a single tap on my phone, I can know what's happening in Russia and China. So my question to you is, I follow a specific social media page, India is doing very good. I follow another page, India is doing very bad. How do you separate the truth from the untruth? The information from the misinformation. For example, today we live when jokes made by Samay Raina and Ranveer Alabadia become national issues, while national issues are treated as jokes. So how do you separate misinformation from information?
So that's where you have to have your own brain working. You should not accept everything as you see it. अगर अपना जो eyes है, ears है, इसको आप खुला रखें and actually देखें कि क्या हो रहा है, आपको पता चलेगा कि कहाँ economy जा रही है. I'll tell you something. When I go to a mall, say for instance, I stay in Mumbai and Phoenix Mall is one of the largest mall over there. So when I ask my cart to come, I sit over there and I count the number of cars that are coming to pick up. And believe me, just by looking at the number of cars and the time it takes for my car to come, I can tell you whether the economy is doing better or worse. It's possible. You have to keep your eyes and ears open. If you are not keeping your eyes and ears open and you are believing in or just the written word or whatever somebody is saying, then you are doing a big disservice to yourself. God has given you a brain for a purpose, right? And I used to tell all my people in my office कि और कुछ भी करो, at least bring your brain to work. उसको घर में रख के मत आना. यहाँ आके खाली टिक मारोगे सब कुछ में और काम बन जाएगा, वो मत कर किया करो. इधर आया करो, actually समझ के काम कर किया करो. So you have to use your own understanding. And this is going to become more and more difficult. Just yesterday we saw a WhatsApp post going around with all the famous personalities manning shops in Mahakumbh. Now tell me, if somebody looks at that and believes what they are seeing, I have to say that there is something wrong with them, right? So basically, use your brains, use your actual experience to understand kya ho raha hai, nahi ho raha hai. Okay? You have to understand कहाँ पे recruitment हो रहा है, कहाँ पे recruitment नहीं हो रहा है, and that you should not be depending upon social media to tell you. You should be depending upon your own self, upon what your own friends are telling you. It's important, by the way, not to just believe in what is being posted, but in actually to speak. Because what is being posted is varnished and posted. Nobody wants to post their real self over there. Even your profile will look better on your WhatsApp than you actually look. है ना? तो अपने आप में जो हमारा संपर्क है, ये भी रखना बहुत ज़रूरी है. Very important. Don't only believe on the social media and the digital media. Yeah. Just one more, yes. Just one more.
My mom is working in SBI, so when
Oh,
I was
that's
young,
great.
when I was young, I have seen your banners in the bank. So you are an inspiration for me, ma'am. So my question to you is, how do you make tough decisions after under pressure, especially in high stakes finance and corporate environment? And also, can you share an instance where you had to take a bold decision that changed the course of your organization?
So, I won't say that it changed courses of my organization, but the fact that, I took the bank digital, I think that was a decision that I really had to push, because when I first talked about digital, a lot of people told me कि हमारे बैंक तो digital है ही है, हमारे पास internet banking है, mobile banking है, digital क्या चीज़ होती है? Digital तो हैं हम, और क्या करना चाहती हैं? तो ये जो डिसीशन था, ये डिसीशन को लोगों को मनाने के लिए, लोगों को समझाने के लिए बहुत कुछ करना पड़ा. फिर जाके लोग माने कि यहाँ डिजिटल जर्नी एकदम अलग चीज़ है. खाली इंटरनेट बैंकिंग और मोबाइल बैंकिंग से डिजिटल बनता नहीं है. तो मैं तो कहूँगी वो बहुत बड़ा डिसीशन था, क्योंकि taking the bank to that, on that route itself, on that journey itself was a very big thing, and I think it has empowered the bank like nothing else in the recent past, okay? Having said that, what are the things that I do to take a tough decision? See, at the point when a decision needs to be taken, very often you don't have time to weigh everything, all the pros and cons of the thing. You have to, in certain ways, rely on your intuition. And on your intuition, what I would say is, if you're taking a decision that makes you feel good, then you're probably taking the right decision. On the other hand, if you're going to take a decision that feels as though, you're getting pulled down, you need to review that decision again and again to see whether you're taking the right one. But believe me, at the end of the day, as you grow and mature into a leader, you will know which are the paths to take, because you will have learned so much that your intuition will automatically kick in and tell you कि ये करना उचित है, ये करना उचित नहीं है. उचित और अनुचित जो है, उसकी जो सेंस है वो sharpened होना ज़रूरी है. उसको you have to keep it alive. You have to ensure that you are looking at it all the time and you are not making a mistake. उसके बावजूद भी mistakes होते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है कि mistake नहीं होता है. But at that point of time, with whatever information you have, you should be able to take what you believe is the best for the organization. Again, that's why we say hindsight is 20/20. Hindsight में लगता है ये ना करके वो करते तो बढ़िया होता. But at that point of time, whatever you have, in the best interest of the organization, try and do whatever you can. Most of the times you will come out correct. I'm not saying it will be correct all the time, but most of the times you still do come up with the right decision. Okay, thank you.